So what am I?
The door just... open and close.
Let's see if we can capture that.
Love you, Daddy. Love you too, my whore.
So Corey and Jen take some of the
I know
devices.
I
I
am.
can't even remember now. This is going back a while, but I have video proof to show you. And they kind of like, do spirit box sessions,
Yep, you
REM
show
pod
all my
sessions, things
whore.
like that.
Yep,
and,
Daddy,
and
I am.
My whole thing was, back in the day, my
Yes.
philosophy was, if the REM pod can go off,
fat
you
ass
can only make a REM pod go off if you touch it.
I know what, Daddy? Yes, my old sexy fatty hole. I know I am. Yes, you're my father. And hole. Yes, Daddy, I am. Love you. Love you too, Chloe.
I got it, Josh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yo, what's going on?
So, what do you do as a job? I'm a hooker. Fuck you. I know.
There's something right there in front of us.
And I take to
Physically touch this device. So I'm like, if the REM pod can go off,
Oh.
I might start to bleed.
I know what that is.
So the whole time we're out here trying to make the REM pod go off. And before the REM pod even did go off, because it did go off, and that was like the best part for me to start believing in ghosts. We did a spirit box session. The spirit box.
No, why,
It's a
Daddy?
radio.
I don't have a
fake the
pimp.
radio. You can't fake the radio
Gonna
to
be
say
my
these
pimp.
words or anything. This is the most, some of the most legitimate stuff.
Oh.
John Huntington, who lives in Maine, first time I ever met him before he joined my Beyond the Dark squad, came down here on a stormy, snowy night to the Conjuring House with
Love
his
you, Daddy,
spirit
master
box.
pimp.
And as soon as he
Love you
turns
too,
it on,
baby, Chloe,
it says Josh,
prostitute
and it
hoe.
says Seth, and
I
then it
know I
shuts off.
am.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that is the first legitimate evidence we've ever caught where I'm like, I might start to believe in ghosts. They were in the middle room again upstairs.
So, where do you hang out in the streets?
Yo!
Then fast forward, all this other
Down
stuff
the road
happens
from
and the
here.
REM pod goes off.
I'll show
So that
you.
was my Conjuring House experience.
Do you want me to show you
And that's
now
when I
or
started to
after we
actually
fuck?
start to believe in ghosts.
Show me now. Oh, good then. Let's have a joint. Then you will show me, you know. Oh, good, baby. Cool. Let's have a joint. Let's pause it. Now you can show me where you are. Where you know. Oh, good. Then we'll come back here. Yeah, we sure will. Keep going straight. This way. Down here. This is the corner here where I hang out. So this corner? Yeah. Cool. I'll swim by whenever I can and you give me the money. Got it? Good girl, my daddy, my bitch hoe. I know what, baby daddy, pimp master? Yes. I'm your pimp hoe. And you're my skanky study hoe, aren't ya? Yep. If you do not have the money, I'm gonna punish you by raping you. Please do. Oh, I will, trust me, you whore. Rocket. She'll hear you again. Fair enough, daddy. Now what, Corinne, my prostitute baby was skanky study. Yep, I know I am, daddy. Love you. Love you too, my little study hoe. I sure am your daddy, daddy pimp. You got the right, you most daddy. Press play can't.
Oh, I heard like screaming.
Onto my rough daddy. Yes, I am daddy. Love you.
And then we
Love
just
you
kept
too.
going on with the series. We kept doing more. We kept learning. It was a lot. It took a lot to even start ghost hunting, to kind of lead a group like just me without John or Joe or
Do you live
because
with
they
your
were the only
parents
people that have been doing
or
it
not?
forever. They are firm ghost believers.
No, I
And they
don't.
are able to
My
talk to them
parents
and
did
kind of
me
just
at a
go,
young age.
because they know how to use the
by
devices, they know
myself.
what to say and things like that, and what
If
to
you
ask.
want, I could
And
adopt
when you
you.
don't know how to
You
do
can.
any of that, it's just
I can
really
be a
hard.
mother, and you can be
And
my
so, you
son,
know,
and my
after that, for
stepson. I
that
can
same
be a
year, for the
stepmother.
next 10 videos,
Yes,
we would do 1 or 2 ghost
please.
videos a month
Cool.
for the entire year.
Love
They
you,
blew up. We were getting 1 million
stepson.
views, 500,000
Love you
views.
too
They
much,
were doing good. And I started to be I started to become skeptic,
I know, right?
higher,
Yes,
higher
my
up,
mommy
to the
whore.
point where I start
Can
up
I call
here.
you
I
Mom?
believe in ghosts. I'm a firm believer now.
Sure.
It's like, why would you go to all
Thank
these
you,
abandoned
Mom.
places in the past that were
Yeah,
supposed to be super haunted,
son.
nothing would happen, and then now all of a sudden it happens. And here's the theory behind this. When you allow yourself to enable, like accept that ghosts are real and you're searching for them, it kind of opens up the activity in the room. If you're with people that don't believe in it and they don't care, it just may never happen. And this is my theory as an investigator, because everyone has their own theories. You might be like, you have to allow it to happen for it to happen, is what I'm saying. Like when noises start happening, it's because they know that you're searching for them, so they're making these things happen so they can talk to you.
Well, why is that going on?
Ever since I brought the ball in here,
That's too cool. That's not close enough for that thing. No, it's not. Not
it's
like
an
that.
EMF. It almost sounds like a police alarm.
Where did you
Please
put the
stop
ball?
doing that.
Yo, as soon as you said please stop, you did it.
Stop the thing from moving. Stop it.
But if you're coming into the room, you're like, yeah, whatever, hey, what's up? I don't believe in this stuff, whatever. That energy, they feel it or they know it, and it's not allowing it to happen. I think what they do is these people in the past, these ghosts, they feed off your energy. And I think it allows them to now be able to communicate to you. So you're accepting that role in the world. It's almost like, when if possession is real, it's like, because you already accept it and you're weak, they can come in you. But if you don't give a shit about it, and you don't care, it will just never happen. I don't really believe in possession at all. I'm just saying if that is a theory. But there's so many theories out there. I do believe in another world. I do think ghosts exist now, and it all starts because of that. All the abandoned places I've done in the past, I just went in, filmed these abandoned videos, and I would leave. Some stuff would happen, but it was always in my head and out the other ear. It just boop, boop, out. I don't care. A lot of people were always saying, like, hey, Josh, you're doing ghost videos because it gets you views and you're just following the trends. And originally, when I did the first Conjuring video, I wanted to get views, and I wanted to see how it was going. But I was also curious. Like I said, I showed you the videos in the past already. So that's why I started ghost hunting, with the curiosity. I'm very curious. I travel the world. I want to see creepy things. I love horror movies.
Oh,
so
good.
obviously, I am curious, and I am a skeptic in the past. And I wanted to try a new series because I've been doing abandoned
you're
and traveling for so
skeptic,
long. So this was the perfect opportunity to now start ghost
it's
videos. Or at
okay.
least attempt it. Was when I got invited to the Conjuring House, the most haunted house in the whole world that everyone knows about. So that's why I started ghost hunting. And I didn't realize that it was going to become a passion of mine. I didn't realize this whole
We're
other world
not
was gonna
human
exist or
without
anything. Like,
skeptics.
it is so insane.
Of course.
And
That's what I
I'm saying.
reckon
If you guys
anyway.
don't believe in ghosts,
I
it's
could
okay.
be
You
wrong,
guys wanna
but
talk,
I reckon
go ahead.
anyway.
A lot of people do it in my comments because they're
Without
used to my abandoned
skeptics,
videos nonstop,
there is
always. They're used to that stuff,
we're
and I
not
get it. And I switch to
human
this content, which is a whole
whatsoever.
freaking ghost series. They're like, what is going on? So I do get it. You're not
That's
a
my
hero, and
opinion
that's
of
okay.
the human
But
race
I was there,
anyway.
and I used to be exactly like that. And I'm not trying to convince anyone here in this video, but I'm just
People
saying,
might have different
when you're
opinions
open-minded,
to me,
and you're
but I
watching these videos and you're
reckon
with people,
without
you know,
skeptics,
if you ever do ghost and you're with people that are experiencing that,
it wouldn't
term,
make us
trust me,
human.
things will go down.
Without
If you're just gonna go
skeptics,
to
we
friends
wouldn't
and
be
you guys really believe
human.
in ghosts, or you guys have even done it, things probably is not going to happen. And that's just how it goes. That's it. You don't have to believe or not, but I will tell you there's something, I don't know what it is. But this is my ghost experience, my reason why I started ghost hunting. You know, it became, like I said, one more time, it became a passion of mine. I love to do it. I started
Love it, daddy,
traveling,
son.
ghost
Love it
readings.
to my
I
baby
started sleeping
whore,
in castles.
daughter,
You know what I mean? This
my
turned into something way bigger than
mummy,
I
I
thought. And it
mean.
was not only a fun
Oh,
and
good,
amazing
son.
things would always happen.
Yep.
The thrill and the scariness of it. It really is. And it's exciting at the same
You're
time.
my daddy
You're
whore,
gonna go to
aren't
the
you,
next
mummy?
abandoned haunted spot.
Yes,
The
son.
next haunted spot, meet people, travel and get there.
I am, son. I am your whore. Yes. You're my daddy cake. Yes, daddy, baby son. Yep, my baby Colleen, daddy with a whore. I know, I am daddy. Yes, you sure are. You're my daddy hoe, aren't you? Yep, I am.
I'll show you my renovations room now, because there's a lot going on. Also, if you're new here, subscribe, check out everything. Let's just go real quick. I'll show you this.
You're my daddy walking whore, mummy.
Let's go.
I know what, son.
We are in the Royal Botanic Gardens, Melbourne today, GQ.
Fuck off. What should I watch now, I wonder?
At Origin, we believe in good value, the kind of value that never stops.
Let's watch this now.
In June of 2020, following the killing of George Floyd and the protests, Anonymous leaked hundreds of gigabytes of law enforcement files. It has been named the Blue Leaks. Over 269 gigabytes of data were taken from over 200 law enforcement agencies. This included emails, recordings, videos, and documents.
Yep.
In total, there were millions of files leaked. Some of the leaked documents show that the FBI was monitoring the social media accounts of protesters, and they were also alerting local law enforcement about anti-police messages. Other documents showed that the FBI was tracking Bitcoin donations to protest groups, as well as highlighted some scandals and police misconduct. In our ninth spot, we have Trump's dirty laundry. I don't mean like literally his sticky socks and undies. In May of 2020, Anonymous came after Trump during his presidency. This happened when Trump threatened to deploy his military force against protesters. But Anonymous was like, nah, honey, you aren't doing that, and said they had dirt on him. They said that they would publish his dirty laundry. A couple of days later, they published 169 emails that mentioned Trump one way or another. Now, most of the emails weren't even bad, but it was just a scare tactic to show Trump, like, hey, we're not bluffing, okay? We got dirt on you. More on this in my next point. Coming in at number 8, we have Trump's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. So like I said, Anonymous leaked some emails about Trump. Well, they also threatened to release information connecting Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Trump and Epstein have been photographed together on a number of occasions. Apparently, they also have hung out with each other too. Some believe that Trump was a part of Epstein's ring and also exploited young females. And Anonymous apparently has proof, including access to Epstein's address book and old court documents. Technically, I'm cheating with this point since they didn't leak this information, but they did expose that they have this information. In our 7th spot, we have the Brazilian government. In June of 2020, Anonymous released personal information on the Brazilian president and his family and cabinet. This caused a lot of chaos. Federal police and the Brazilian Congress began to investigate. In the end, it was revealed that the federal government used $2 million of the public's money to fund advertising on several websites. Most of the websites supported the president, which makes sense as to why they wanted to put money into them. Not only that, but Anonymous leaked a number of government officials' addresses, income, and other personal information. Personal addresses were a very serious issue because it puts them at risk for attacks.
Captain Pete Maverick Mitchell, you were here at the request of Iceman. He seems to think we have something left to offer the Navy. With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher. Just want to manage expectations.
Moving on, at number 6, we have CSIS documents. So what I didn't know is that apparently Anonymous has some beef with the Canadian government. One of their first attacks leaked secrets about foreign activities of the Canadian Secret Intelligence Service, aka the CSIS. It released information about the size of their network, what information they have access to, along with other sensitive government documents. The Canadian government has only admitted to having foreign stations in Washington, London, and Paris. But according to documents leaked, they have over 25 foreign stations. And I quote, many of which are located in developing countries and/or unstable environments. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the secret federal document. In another attack against Canada, Anonymous leaked top secret documents outlining the redevelopment of Canada's key diplomatic centers in Britain, including selling, relocating, and refurbishing Canada's diplomatic buildings in London. Now, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's the fact that they got hold of these top secret documents that's concerning. The documents were marked as confidence of the Queen's Privy Council, which basically means that it's top secret and private documents. Therefore, the government of Canada is looking into its own people to see if someone among them is leaking these documents to Anonymous, or maybe they're a part of Anonymous. In our fourth spot, we have the hashtag OpsWakeUp21. In January of 2021, Anonymous attacked the government of Malaysia. They defaced 17 government and university websites. This was part of their campaign called
So you're my actual mom.
Basically, the purpose of this campaign was to highlight the poor security of the government's websites and to warn people about it. In a post, they said, and I quote,
oh well, I guess so, oh well.
Anonymous Malaysia. This is message to government Malaysia. Your security system is low. All data may be leaked. This can cause unwanted hackers.
What happened to my actual dad?
Basically, they accused the government for keeping
he died long time ago.
That occurred over the years.
He died from a drive-by. Okay. Him and his friends were standing outside. Then the rival gang went by in the car and shoot up the, you know, shit. I wasn't home. I was at prostituting. Like at work. Like being a prostitute. Okay, so you wasn't home. Yeah, pretty much, son. Oh, good, Mom. I know what, son.
So they can spy on people from around the world. You can't hide from reality where you are. You're neither safe from any government. Someday you'll look back on this and realize what we've done here is right.
Love you, son. Love you too.
We'll harm you, but we'll save you. Okay, guys, it is time to deactivate Facebook. Nice. Coming in at number 2, we have Epic. In September of 2021, Anonymous leaked data from Epic, which is basically a domain registrar and web hosting company that has provided
I'm sorry for fucking ditching you like I abandoned you. I don't have a reason why I abandoned you whatsoever. Oh good, I forgive you, my mummy whore. Thanks, son. You're welcome.
Credit card information. Over 15 million email addresses were exposed.
Your dad is my cousin.
The second in September, and the third in October. In October,
I know.
They actually leaked information on documents belonging to the Texas Republican Party.
Origin believes in good value, like our Origin Everyday Rewards plan, where you can support cleaner energy at no extra cost. That's value.
You know that guy, what you saw? My ex, you know, now my ex
So thanks to Edward Snowden, we all know
husband.
NSA was spying on Americans
Yeah.
through their phones.
He's my
Anonymous just exposed the existence of a secret NSA
step uncle.
program called PRISM.
Okay.
This program allows the
I know.
NSA and FBI to take photos, videos, emails,
What you
and
doing?
chats from the servers of 9 different internet companies, including
Love you, baby
Microsoft,
son.
Facebook,
Love you too, my baby whore mommy.
Anonymous leaked 13
And now I am, son.
documents about this program.
Yes.
And it revealed that the
You're my
NSA is
whore.
not
I'm
only spying on
mommy.
Americans,
Yes,
but
son.
also citizens of over 35 different countries as well. Anonymous said, and I quote, "We bring this to you so that you know just how little rights you have. Your privacy and freedoms are slow."
Matter of fact, What? Let's go fucking public. Fair enough. Fuck the hotel room. Give me the card, I'll go in. Here's the card. Cool. I'll be right back, steady. Oh good. There we are. I'm in the car. Cool. It's looks like I'm homeless now. My husband, aka my ex-husband, and aka my step-uncle took the house. God damn it. I know. What about do I have brothers and sisters? Yeah, you do. But they're living with your 10th mum. I'm one of your mums. You have multiple dads, multiple mums, multiple cousins, multiple sisters, aunts, uncles, nephews. Your family's a big incest tree. Okay. You have also a what else? Step aunts, step uncles, step mums, step dads, step sisters, step cousins, step brothers. You know, everything. Shit. They're all related. One way or another. Even step aunts and step cousins are related to us. Okay. I know. You still feds come after me? No. Okay, good. Lucky cunt. I know what, baby son, Lucky. Yes. Move the fuck out of my way. So baby hood mummy. Where the fuck at? Let's walk down here. Right here. Here? Yeah, basically. Matter of fact, let's fuck at the church, outside the church. Cool. Here. This church here? Yeah. Cool, my whore. I know, right? Baby son? Yep, my baby mummy whore. Boo. Rocket. Where will no fuck at though? We'll fuck. We'll fuck on here. Here? Yeah. In front of everyone. Cool. I know, right? I always want to fuck in the church or outside the church. Well, your dream come true. I know. Thanks to you, mommy whore. Yep, son. Love you, son. Love you too, my mommy will study whore. I know I am, son.
autonomy being taken away from you. Closed doors meetings in laws buried in bills and by people who are supposed to be protecting you. Starting off this countdown, we have the Vipeholm experiments. This was a series of experiments in Sweden from 1945 to 1955. It's literally going to make you sick to your stomach when you find out what they did. Basically, they force-fed people with mental illness sweets to see if sugar was related to tooth decay. Imagine people just cramming food down your throat against your will. It's very gross. These experiments were conducted by the government and sponsored by the sugar industry. The experiments lasted for about 2 years, and by then the teeth of about 50 of the subjects in the experiment had been completely ruined. In our 9th spot, we had the UK Special Demonstration Squad. This is the name of a group of undercover police officers in the UK. Now, the things that they did are going to shock you. For example, they would steal birth certificates and identities of people that had died at a young age. They'd make sure that they would be around their age and then use their identities. The younger the person died, the better, because that means they didn't already live a life that they would have to cover up. And then they would go around with this new identity. Some cases they actually got into relationships with women, but the whole time they did so just to spy on them. In November of 2015, the Metropolitan Police Force apologized to 7 women tricked into relationships by these officers. Like, imagine that, dating someone you're madly in love with, sometimes even having a kid with them, only for them to be like, oh, sorry, gotta go, was only dating you to get intel on you and your friend circle. It's disgusting, and it's actually happened to multiple women. In our 8th spot, we have the radioactive waste. Apparently, there's a huge radioactive dumping zone located in Tonawanda, New York. In fact, they dumped more than 37 million gallons of radioactive waste from their World War II atomic bomb tests. This area has a high rate of cancer and thyroid conditions, and this is the reason why, and no one's talking about it. In our 7th spot, we have the hepatitis tests. In 1956, the U.S. government began running tests on young individuals living at the Willowbrook State School in Staten Island. This was a state-supported institution for children with intellectual disabilities. And what they did to these students was give them hepatitis in order to track the development of the viral infection. Of course, they were being experimented on without knowledge or consent. To make matters worse, the study lasted 14 years. They also injected...
That's a long time ago. It's
so
like
Jordan...
One came out. That's how long ago that was. More specifically, Snowden said that the NSA hacked the Chinese University of Hong Kong, aka the heart of all internet traffic in Hong Kong. Now, of course, this is ironic, but there's many who see this hack attack as a good thing. See, citizens want to know what their government's up to, and honestly, I myself would love to know if the NSA was rummaging through my chats. So a poll was conducted on June 10th and 11th, and apparently 44% of Americans were on board with Snowden's
endorsed and vital to national security, but
specifically they didn't have much power.
Next video. Let's watch this.
I've got a pretty controversial topic for you guys today. We're going to talk about incest. Why is it so bad?
So who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
Hey guys, this is a topic I've been wanting to tackle for a while. I'm actually very excited about it because I think it's something that a lot of people won't delve into. When I made my popular opinions video, unpopular opinions, I mean, someone mentioned in the comments that they don't think that incest is that bad. And that's something that I've always thought, and something that I was saving for my second video about unpopular opinions. And I've been putting this video off, but today I've been thinking a lot about what I would want to put into this video. And when I'm brainstorming a lot about a video, it's best done if I just do it in that day and don't put it off anymore. So here we are. What is incest? Ask no one ever, but just in case, if someone doesn't know, it's basically having a romantic or sexual relationship with someone in your bloodline. A lot of people cut it off at first cousin. Some people think that dating the first cousin is also gross. You get the drift. I want to ask you guys to please try to put aside your visceral reactions to the topic. The whole like, ew, oh my god, that's so gross. That's disgusting. And try to think about this logically and rationally, using facts. As you guys know, it's a hobby of mine to tackle theoretical and philosophical topics. And you guys also know I like to think of myself as someone who's more rational than emotional. I try to understand why I do things and why I feel certain ways, so that I can harness my emotions and use them for good, rather than riding them around like a roller coaster with no control. I find that relation. There's actually like certain smells and pheromones that we give off within our bloodline that kind of repulses us. And while that doesn't always work, there's a good reason for that. One of the main arguments as to why incest is completely wrong is because you have a much higher than normal rate of child deformities, retardation, basically just birth defects in general. Obviously, if I was to theorize why this is the case, I would say that the mixing of different genes is just healthier. For instance, animals and insects that reproduce asexually are actually just replicating their own DNA onto their offspring, so it's basically like a copy of themselves. And while that's pretty cool, in doing so they open themselves up to a lot of different issues. If there are any flaws in the genes, they're not going to be improved in the next generation, less likely to survive diseases, things like that. Honestly, science is not my field of expertise, and I haven't read much into this, but I would surmise that the closer you get to that asexual reproduction, aka reproducing with someone who has similar genes to you, the closer you get to that issue. I feel the need to say that I've never been attracted to anyone in my family. I have no agenda with this video other than to just have a discussion with you guys, and tell you my opinions, because they're very different from the norm. So what if this unholy, incestuous relationship doesn't bear children? For instance, the homosexual relationship, or one of the parties or both don't want to have kids or can't have kids. Then is it okay? Most people would say it's not, right? But why is that? Now let's think about some reasons why it wouldn't be okay. One of the reasons is a power dichotomy. Think about a mother and a child, or a father and a child. When you're raising a child and you're an authority figure, and then in adulthood you guys end up dating, there can be huge power dynamics there that make it very unhealthy for the child. It could look as though, and it can even be so, that the parent is actually coercing the child into this relationship, making them feel like that's the only way they can get love, or that that's something that's completely normal. As you guys know, I am not a fan of saying, well, that's normal, or well, that's natural, and then acting as though that's the right course of action for sure, just based on that logical fallacy. But if you do raise a child under the pretenses that they should have a romantic relationship with you, you can definitely psychologically warp a child. But honestly, when it comes to like cousins, or long-lost brothers and sisters, who meet up one day and fall in love, I don't see any problem with that. If they're being completely conscientious about all of the problems they could cause if they have children, and they're taking steps to protect against that, then honestly it's really no different than a couple where one of the people has some gene that they will surely pass on to their offspring that's very bad, so they just abstain from having kids. Like, let's say some kind of horrible disease runs in their family, and they don't want to pass it on to their kids. Marrying one of those people is not bad. I honestly believe that there are people out there that just aren't affected by our biology. They aren't disgusted by the idea of having sex with someone that they grew up with, which is another point I'd like to make. Often when someone says, no, he's like a brother to me, or no, she's like a sister to me, that usually means that you've been in contact with them when you were younger and kind of grew up with them, or you've divulged so much about yourself that there's no mystery left, and then that person can't see you as anything more than a brother or sister or family member anymore, because it's like you know them too well. If that kind of bond forms before a romantic relationship forms, it can often be hard for you to see someone in a sexual way. And I honestly feel that's another part of our biology telling us that incest shouldn't happen because birth defects can happen. Spread your genes out wide and don't keep them closely crumpled. Basically just a survival mechanism. But the fact that society sees these people in seemingly healthy relationships and just immediately judges them, that doesn't make any sense to me. Just because you don't think it's right or it's not right in your culture or you were raised differently, doesn't mean it's inherently wrong. Even if our very biology is telling us not to do it, it doesn't necessarily make it wrong. We have many biological and instinctual properties that we don't need anymore or use anymore. In my opinion, jealousy is one of them, as we don't need to protect what's ours in a tribe and no one's out to get us, but there are many others as well. Shit, we even have organs we don't need. So is it wrong to get rid of your tonsils or your appendix, even if it's going to kill you because it's part of our natural biology? I believe that any relationship that has some kind of varying hierarchy can become toxic, but I'm not within the relationship to actually be able to make that assertion. Just like you guys are not involved with the relationships of incestuous people that you like to hate on the internet. There are plenty of famous guys who have sex with fangirls. Why is that not looked down upon just as much as the woman who has sex with her son? She might be manipulating and taking advantage of him. The superstar might be manipulating and taking advantage of his status as a superstar with these girls. Is it happening? You can't tell for sure unless you're like actually a part of the situation, so might as well not judge. And try to open your mind to new ideas from other people who grew up differently than you. So let's just talk about the redneck stereotype where the uneducated southern rednecks like to have incestuous relationships with each other. That was probably just based on the fact that things are rural down there and it's really hard to find another person of the opposite sex. And people who might do that tend to give less of a shit about what other people think. or be less intelligent. But I honestly don't think any of that factors into who actually has incestuous urges or not. I feel like there are tons of quote-unquote normal people who have thought they had like a super hot cousin or something, or a hot aunt, I don't know. I feel like the further removed you are from that family member, the more
So,
likely
Mommy,
you are
do
to
you
find them
smoke
attractive.
weed?
And there are stories
So,
of brothers
son,
and sisters who have never met
Robert
their entire
smoke.
lives coming
So, I
together and
guess,
falling in love.
cool.
Is that wrong?
Here's a
They didn't
joint
have
and
to
a
change each
smoke.
other's
Let's have a
diapers
joint
or
and a
see each other in
smoke,
the
then
most
we'll fuck.
vulnerable moments. And
Done.
even if they did, who's to say that that's wrong? That might make the bond for some people even stronger. So I challenge you guys to, in the comments, tell me why it's not okay to involve yourself in an incestuous relationship with someone you're not having a child with, that isn't manipulating you to do so, and you're both consenting adults. Why? Just because society tells you it's weird? Just because some people have the preference not to do it? Most people have the preference not to do it? What does that matter? Live your life the way
Find love and possibly... On your quest to find love and possibly have offspring, many of us cringe at the idea of mating with a sibling or any relative, really. Weird. But what's the big problem with incest in the first place? What actually happens when you inbreed?
There's
The first thing to
nothing.
understand is how any trait you have comes about. You have your biological mom and your dad, who each have their own unique DNA. And basically you get half of your DNA from mom and half from dad. These DNA pairs define everything about you, but in some cases, certain traits are more dominant, like brown eyes, for example. If your mom has 2 pairs of the brown eye allele, her eyes will be brown, and if your dad has 2 pairs for the blue eyes,
Bobby
his will be
son,
blue.
Bobby
As
two,
a result,
Mommy
you'll
hole.
receive 1 brown gene
I
from
know I
mom
am
and 1 blue
Daddy.
gene from dad. But brown eyes just happen to be a dominant trait, meaning even
Yep.
though you get 1 brown and 1
Bobby
blue from
damn
each
you,
parent,
son.
your eye color will actually be
Bobby two,
brown.
Mommy
It takes having
Colleen
2
hole.
recessive alleles to exhibit the other
I
traits.
know I am
In this case,
Daddy.
if you got 2 blue alleles, you'd end up having blue eyes. So what does this have to do with incest? It turns out that many specific diseases or disorders are recessive and require you to get the gene from both carriers. As a result, if your dad has 1 allele for a disorder, it's pretty likely that his sibling or relative probably has it too, because they would have gotten it from their parents or other relatives. Had your dad decided to mate with a random person in the population, the chance of them having the same recessive gene is low, but if he chooses to copulate with his sister or cousin, then your odds of getting both of the recessive genes are much higher. Still not guaranteed, but much more likely. In that sense, it's important to remember that inbreeding doesn't create genetic mutations or defective offspring itself, but instead increases the chance of a rare gene combination. In fact, even when both parents carry a recessive gene, there's still a 75% chance that they won't both pass on the gene, leading to perfectly healthy kids with respect to that particular disorder or disease.
Shit,
So
it's not that bad,
ever
Con.
good? Not so much in humans.
Sure. Whatever. But what's this? Forgotten 2. Why not what? Why not what's Forgotten 2 now? Man, I can't believe it. Forgotten 2. About time it comes out. But shit, I've been waiting for a while until Forgotten 2 comes out. And now it's finally out!
Bust down rolly shit in my pants. Yeah, my old bitch shit in pants. You're not gonna come out anyway, bro. I'm gonna just watch some TV.
On this episode of Spook Hunters, the team and I travel to Orokono, Keikoda to search the house of a man who claims he is being haunted by an evil spirit. But when we went inside, we quickly realized that something much darker was at play.
Yo, you in there? Yo, bro, you been in your room all day, bro. I'm finna just come in. What the fuck? Now, please! Yo! Yo! What the fuck? What the fuck? What is this? I think my friend overdosed. I need an ambulance. Now, please!
9 weeks later. Asylum. Nice. He's at Asylum now. You're about to Asylum now. He's at Asylum now. He is at the same asylum now.
I'm on the way, I'm coming. Yo.
Yo, is this Daniel?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Maddie, man, Maddie. I'm gonna be your
the new roommate.
Yeah.